welcome. Hi, teachers. Going to talk about word problems today. Those are usually always so tough, and kids either think they can get them or they don't, and it's one of those things we've always had trouble with. So, something that I've discovered that works really great for 5th grade and 4th and 3rd is thinking tools to help them organize their thinking during the word problems. These are based off of 6 different situations that we can find in the standards, but for my teaching purposes, there's 4 thinking tools. The first one is a situation where there's always a start and there's a change. So we can start with so many birds on the tree and some flew away. That's the change. Or I have kids in my classroom and more were enrolled. So it's a change of either adding or taking from. We can use a thinking tool with 3 boxes. The kids have to find the starting amount, the change, whether it's positive or negative, and then that result. Another thinking tool is the parts and wholes thinking tool. We can have math situations where it's just like we're looking at a picture and we're looking at certain attributes. So for example, if I have a classroom of 24 kids, some are boys and some are girls. So we have 2 parts that can be talked about as a whole, or we have 10 orange balls in the basket, 5 are deflated, so we can just talk about what's happening within this whole and the 2 parts. So if they feel like, oh, I feel like it's just talking about parts and wholes, then we have a thinking tool to find the whole amount and the 2 different parts. The third thinking tool is for equal groups. This works with multiplication or division. So equal groups. Do you have a group of things where the same thing is happening each time? Same ticket price, same number of kids on a bus, same number of apples in a bowl. If it's an equal group situation, we read the problem and we're listening for a number of groups, the size of each group, and then that whole amount. Our fourth thinking tool is a comparative thinking tool. So we're comparing things. Johnny is taller than Susie, or I ate more pizza than my brother. Now, we do talk about comparative being both additive, so you hear the word more or less. It can also be multiplicative, where we're talking about things are doubling or 3 times as much. Same kind of thinking tool though, where we have a large quantity, a small quantity, and the question is going to tell us that difference, if it's more or less, or if it's a multiplier times or less. This I found really helps kids, because instead of coming to a word problem and they're supposed to just sort of guess the operation, or the smart kids are the only ones who know the operation, this is that step in between to help kids think about what could be the operation without it really just being a guessing game. So I want to kind of show you how that might look. So if we have this word problem here, I had $57. Then I earned $15 babysitting. I spent all the money on 9 tickets. How much was each ticket? So traditionally working with kids, they might just start guessing and wondering and adding and multiplying, and they just go for it before they ever stop and think. So I teach them, let's stop and think. What's the situation? What's happening? So kids might share with me, well, I hear some equal groups happening because they're like each ticket, but I also kind of hear a start and a change, like you had $57 and they had more. So we're actually going to use both of those thinking tools because the kids can really hear what's happening. The thinking tools help us organize all the information. So if we have equal groups, the kids could draw this. The first box is always the groups. The second box is always multiplied by group size, which will always result in our total or whole. Okay? But then we also heard the start change, where I had a start of amount money. Something changed, plus or minus, don't know yet. I gotta reread the problem, and then I have the result. Okay, so then we can start looking back for that information. Well, if we're talking about groups, what is the group? What's happening over and over again? Oh, the tickets. So I could actually fill that in. 9 tickets. How much does each ticket cost? Oh, we don't know yet, so we put our variable. Total? I don't know that yet either, but it's a 2-step problem. So then, well, do we know the start and change? Well, I know I started with $57. I change by adding another 15, and the result will be all of the money that I have. So now kids can go, okay, this is really, I've got two things I need to solve, but this answer is all the money I have, which would be the same as this box. So they do their working things out. I think it's 72. And then we talk about if you're missing a factor, how do you solve to find the missing factor? And they go, oh, I've got to divide. So $8 per ticket. So this word problem is just one example of how you can use these thinking tools to help kids think through the problems instead of just trying to have to guess which operation and then being wrong half the time. So give it a shot. If you want to learn more about these, you can look them up in the standards and leave any comments below if you have any questions for me. Thanks.